Good evening, I'm Laura Lee. Thanks for joining us. Virginia City Council voted no tonight on 3 different proposals that would have impacted funding for the city's police, fire, and EMS, including potentially outsourcing its ambulance service. Northern News Now's Ella Showborough was at the packed City Council tonight where crowds gathered to support their local first responders. Ella, it seems like the citizens of Virginia had a lot to say.
That's right, Laura. First responders and community members raised concerns on the 3 proposals. 2 would outsource Virginia's ambulance service and law enforcement. The other would propose what the city called a hybrid model for its fire department. Community members arguing that jobs would be at risk if services were outsourced and lives would be at risk due to the response time.
Good evening, everyone.
More than 50 people packed into Virginia City Hall Tuesday, speaking about how the city's full-time fire department and EMS workers have impacted their lives.
And it'd be a heartbreak to get rid of this group of people here.
Every time that this starts, this kind of talk, we lose good people.
Councillor Justin Scalco put the proposals on the agenda, blindsiding some councillors and first responders.
We have not even had any opportunity to have any discussions with all 3 of the departments.
Scalco argues the city's operating budget is not sustainable right now, and he says it could take between a 20% and 30% levy increase just to maintain current city services, a burden he doesn't want to put on taxpayers.
We cannot levy our way out of another situation. We have to get down and dirty, get real about every single department in this place and make it better.
Other councillors agreed as their fire department covers 640 miles across the Iron Range, all of which only Virginia taxpayers are funding. But some say outsourcing is not the solution.
We have to protect the health and safety of the community. I want, like what happened to my father and other family members, an ambulance that can respond within 4 to 6 minutes to a house to save somebody's life.
After discussion, the council ultimately voted 6-1 against potentially outsourcing the city's ambulance service. The other 2 motions failed from lack of support. But first responders say that these conversations aren't over.
Working on the state for taxing districts for EMS, working at the federal level for Medicare and Medicaid reimbursements. We're losing money in a lot of different ways, and so we need to improve upon that.
The proposals come as the city of Virginia is currently investigating wrongful use of sales tax revenue. As we reported recently, the revenue from a 1% sales tax designated for an event center was actually used for general fund expenses instead. The city is still trying to figure out how much was used and how to potentially recoup that money. Live in studio, Ella Showborough, Northern News Now.